12 months full pay and then 6 months like half pay. So paid parental leave is a right here in Canada, and it's not a federal right in the States. Same with our healthcare, obviously. There's also one thing that's, I think, quite different and that people don't quite realize about like the history between Canada and the United States from like before either of our countries actually existed. What is that when the United States fought the War of Independence, they fought it against Canada, right? So like Canada didn't exist as a country, but even currently we are an independent nation, but we're still part of the Commonwealth. So our head of state is the King of England, which a lot of people think is bad. And then there's most of us who don't care because it's like a sort of a formality. But I actually see it more as like another check and balance in our system. So technically, if our government were to try to do something completely crazy, like take away people's human rights, technically the King of England could say, I'm not going to let you do that. Would he? It's never happened. But technically he could. So, and I think that's a good thing. And I think that the United States not having the checks and balances or having the checks and balances and not using them, it's creating a really big problem. And I don't know how the United States is going to solve the problems that have been created. My hope is dwindling on it, to be honest, as like a Canadian who is informed of current US politics and political issues, as well as geopolitics and economics. So we talk a lot about tariffs also. And that's something that's really interesting. I do work in the financial industry as well. And there is all this talk about tariffs, and right now there aren't like the tariffs that the 25% blanket tariffs don't exist. They're on a 90-day moratorium or whatever. But what I do know happened while the tariffs against China were still on, I think it was like 96 ships that were supposed to go to, I think, California or Seattle or both, went to Vancouver instead. So they came to Canada instead. So big box stores in the United States with crazy tariffs against the Chinese goods, you're going to have empty shelves, and that's terrible for everybody. And I think everybody knows one of the things that they're talking about as far as trade between Canada and the US is in the auto industry. And then the other one, of course, is in the oil industry, because we have all the oil and you guys have all of the refineries for our oil. So we export all of our oil to the United States for very low cost. And then the United States refines it and we buy it back. But what we can do is ship our oil to refineries in Saudi Arabia, in China. There's, I think, maybe even a Nordic country. And I've heard this idea floated that Russia is exporting out of the Arctic, out of a port in the Arctic now because of climate change, which is a real thing, pulling back the polar ice caps. We also have the Arctic, and I've heard the idea floated that we could export out of the Hudson Bay, which is in the north of Canada, and go through the Arctic to export. So Canada will be fine as far as trade goes. The United States will not. You will not get our oil, and that sucks for you as Americans. I think yeah, the auto industry, something that kind of goes back and forth. I don't really care. I do, honestly, I have to thank you as Americans for one thing that you guys really helped us with is not electing a conservative government of our own. So that was amazing. Okay. Cairo. Sorry, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for this question. I don't know if I've seen it or not. Did I miss it? All right. Looking back, don't think H was trying to frame me for the questionable things. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Honestly, I'm sorry. I don't know. Like, who's H? Me? Like, because I'm H, right, Heather? So, I don't know who that is. As far as, like, being framed, not that individual. If it's who I think it is, no. Oh, okay, yeah. No. No, actually, so I have not talked to that person. I've actually never the only time that I've ever talked to him like personally or privately, it was about political stuff before all of that drama came out. So no, I don't think that he has anything to do with anything that's happened with me. Honestly, nor do I think that his buddy does either. So even though that situation was obviously far more involved, unfortunately. Am I okay? I am, like, I'm okay for sure. I'm okay. I think that really everybody in most of these situations who is on this app to try to do good things, to try to help people and make the world a better place, impact change, advocate like what I do, educate like what I do, all of us really would like all of the drama to go away and for us to be able to have this space go be like it used to be, open and inclusive, and allow us that space to do that work. And that's being taken away right now from a lot of us. And I don't put myself very high on the list of people that are negatively impacted about this, because it's because I am nowhere near a big content creator, a big influencer of anything close to most of the people that are kind of being demonized. Even though people keep telling me that I am like an influencer, I've heard it floated, celebrity, all these kinds of ridiculous things. No. But I definitely as far as like that specific situation that you're speaking about, no, like my heart's fine. And it has been for a long time, because that actually ended in the beginning of February. It's been months, many, many months. And so obviously like it did come back up when everything kind of went down with the individual you're talking about. And then the way that I kind of reacted to it fueled some flames about some of that issue. And I needed to have private conversations and, get some stuff aired out. There were apologies exchanged. There was accountability. There was middle ground found. And all of us have more than moved on from all of that. That's all in the past. And I do think that it's really unfortunate that some of these really big content creators that are trying to do good things are not able to go live anymore and do their debates. So I think that it's very, I think that it's pretty sad that the drive for the drama, for the tea to be spilled, for whatever, is stronger than the drive for positive, to impact positive change in our world, which is what we really need. I have regrets, definitely. Trust me, 100%. Yep. And I think, and I've spoken to that before, that I have definitely made mistakes. I have had to eat my words more than once. I have apologized. I've taken accountability. I've had, you're asking about my family. Yes, I've been in conversation with my family about everything the whole time. So it's not, we didn't have to have a kind of sit down, learn the whole thing at once. So I know that it seems strange to a lot of people that I'm very open with my family about the mistakes that I make as a person. But it's always been very, very important to me as a parent for my children to know that I am a human being who makes mistakes just like everybody else. And that's a good thing, right? So now that my children, are grown, one of them is an adult, the other one not quite yet. I am seeing how that plays out, and the way that it plays out is with them being accepting of people. So if other people misstep, if they don't do it intentionally, they know to bring it to their attention. Hey, you said something that was insensitive or whatever. And they know how to critically manage and cope with situations, because we're all humans, we're all unique humans. And it's very important that it has always been important to me that my children grow up understanding that everybody is a human. So, and it's honestly, it's played out in the last couple of weeks with, trust me, completely unrelated to anything to do with TikTok at all. Personal stuff with what's happened with my children, in that another thing that I've learned about recently in school is it's called the cycle of socialization. And what that means is how we come to believe the cultural beliefs that we hold and keep them intergenerationally. So how do they get passed on from one generation to another? Why? And most of it has to do with how we're raised within our family of origin, and then in our community, and then how do we interact with the community, and it kind of just goes around and around. So it's very, one thing that happened recently is that, so for myself, in raising my children, I have had to be very intentional about the things that I talk with them about. And as far as like cultural issues, social issues, being very open and honest. And trust me, over the years, it has been very, I have gotten a lot of pushback from people since my kids were very little in the way that I was choosing, and my husband, that we were choosing to raise our children. For example, my older child was present when I gave birth to my younger child, and she was only 2.5. And so a lot of people took issue with that. They said that was a terrible thing for me to do. So, but I push back on that because it's not. It's not. It's not a bad thing to allow your older children to be present at the birth of their siblings, and that's just an example. So, okay, it's all right. Elisa, I don't know. Why don't you just tell me what it is you want me to say? So while you're typing that out, I will, I'll keep going on what I'm going. Yeah, so my daughter remembers the birth of her sibling. And when we did it, it was very, I prepared her very carefully for that experience. So I asked, I'm not blocking anybody. You guys can see my hands. I have a moderator that's, so what my moderator is doing is trying to keep the conversation in good faith, because basically that's what everybody wants to do, is to act in bad faith and perpetuate the drama. So my mod is being quite strict. That's the reason. So like, if you want to ask me a question or interact with me in good faith, I will answer your questions. So, Lemon, exactly. There are no receipts because it didn't happen. So what did happen as far as the drama, so I said this a while ago when I first started the live, and maybe it's probably a good thing to reiterate now, and then I'll probably end. So what happened was I was being kind of painted into this corner in that when myself and my husband started dating, I was only 17 and he was in his 20s. And so I was being baited by somebody to say that was bad. And I refused to do that. So everything that I said was in relation to not wanting to have a label placed on my husband. I did think about it, and I did come back and say, no, I don't really support that. I also did say that younger than 17, I wouldn't support. And I did explain, but for the most part, people just didn't want to listen. And I can't really do that. I can't make people listen. Yes, Amanda, I know 17 is a minor. I understand that. So, but yes, this is Gwennifer. This is the problem. So this isn't actually an issue. This isn't, what you're saying is an issue, but it doesn't apply to me. So the idea of teenagers being groomed, that's a bad thing. the idea of people being P3DOs, that's a bad thing. Definitely, for sure. I am not, like I have said, I'm not condoning that. I don't. But what was happening in that moment was that somebody was trying to force me to say that my husband is a groomer or is a P3DO, and I didn't want to do that. So the fact that I wouldn't come out and say that, now everyone is saying that somehow I am those things, which is completely false. I'm not a groomer, nor am I a P3DO of any way, shape, or form. And then there's the idea of like, I am like an apologizer or a sympathizer, which is not true either. So those are the things that, like I said, are the drama that people are really just like focusing on. And like, it's happening right here, right now. So like people are, this is what they are trying to talk about. This is what they want to talk about. And that's a problem, because this is like an issue that's being created where there is actually no issue within my life, right? So like, I am not a problematic person. I'm not a bad person. I'm a good person. My husband is also not a problematic person or a bad person. He's also a good person. He and I have both dedicated our entire lives to public service, to helping people. That's all that we've done. And so the fact that people are looking at the situation that they are trying to like place labels on place labels on my relationship with my husband, or saying, like, I've heard this one too, right? That he was grooming me. No, absolutely. Do you think like, no, if that were true, would we still be married this many years later, a lot of years later? Would we have been successful in raising a family, owning houses, building houses, doing all these things? Working together, maintaining a relationship with its challenges. And it's just, it's creating, bringing this stuff up, like trying to bring my personal life up, and trying to get like pigeonhole me into saying things for like drama and for clickbait is counterproductive. And which is exactly what I came on here to say, is like this behavior that like literally that we're seeing right now, this is just unnecessary drama that it's not productive, it's not helpful. It's just not. And I think that you guys should stop. Like, maybe let people like me and other people just do the work that we're trying to do. He didn't groom me. No, trust me, he did not. He didn't. So, like, you don't know me or my life or my husband or our relationship. And so for you to just go and like throw that label on there, or to like make that statement, that's literally exactly what I'm talking about. That's creating drama where drama doesn't exist. And it's problematic. And we're seeing that being played out over and over and over again on TikTok right now. That's a problem. We all need to shut the fuck up about all the stuff that doesn't matter and pay attention to what does, refocus our attention on what matters, and maybe work together to do the important stuff. So, sorry, what question? Bubble. I don't trust you. What do you mean by mandated classes? Cairo. Jude, I work on myself friggin' every day. That's all I do. Sorry, Bubble, and ask your question. I'll search for it. Oh. No, I never said that 17 and 35 was okay. I've never said that. What I did say was if my child, who is 18, was dating somebody who was in their mid-30s, we would have a conversation about it, but they're both consenting adults. So I don't actually have like any ground to stand on to say anything against it. So the like, in those conversations, there was this like slow pushback of ages, and the 17-year-old with somebody that was older came from only my personal experience in being 17 and dating my husband who was 22 or 23. So that's literally the only place that came from. I did not extend a belief in other people's relationships of those same ages at all. I have not made a statement. Well, no, that's not true. I actually did. I did say that for the most part, I would say that under the age of 18 with somebody who's an adult is something to be questioned. So I have said that. And then I also did say that my younger child, who's a little bit younger than that, would, if that child were to say that they were dating somebody who was in their 20s, I would definitely not be okay with that. That child is about, I'm not going to say exactly 15 or 16. So, well, questioned as opposed to what? Like, I cannot, I am not so stupid as to believe that I can forbid my child from doing something and they're going to listen to me. That's stupid. That would never happen. If I said, I forbid you from dating this 20-year-old, they would just do it anyways, just behind my back, which isn't helpful either. And I'm not going to like go to the police if, like, I don't know, it's just not really, I do have to, like as a nurse, I am a mandatory reporter, and I have had to do that. I've said that before too. So, and I have actually had to sit down and talk to the RCMP on multiple, RCMP that's the police here in Canada, on multiple issues like this. So it's not something that I'm not experienced in. So would I call the cops on somebody creeping on my own child? Yes, absolutely. I would. So so I should know better? Better than what? Are you talking about the mandatory reporting thing? So what I know is that the experience that I've had as a professional has afforded me the ability to critically think about situations as they come up. And not every situation is the same. It's not black and white. There's an awful lot of gray. And each individual case and situation is different. So we do have laws and we have to abide by laws. And I do that, and I maintain my, I actually have a bunch of things that I have to do in order to maintain my license as a professional. Obviously, I can't be a criminal, so any of the things that people say about me being a criminal is obviously false. Not just like not a criminal, but like way not a criminal. I get a vulnerable sector check every single year. And I also have a character background check. And so I have to be of good character. I have to be fit to practice. There's a whole bunch of things that are checked every single year of me. So it's very, so as far as like distinguishing, I don't require a vulnerable sector. Yeah, I do, Lemon. I do. So when my license gets renewed every year, they do a vulnerable sector check with it. So I wanted to say, yeah, like I know, Bubble, the age laws are black and white, but like we've talked about, there are such things as like Romeo and Juliet laws, right? I've had to deal with a situation where I had a 13-year-old having a baby by her father. So, that's pretty black and white. It can get pretty crazy, but there's also room for gray. So the way that we distinguish, I remember what I was going to say about the mandatory reporter thing, is we don't do it alone. So as something comes up, and this is how this works. So if a situation comes up and my spidey senses get tingly, right? I'm like, I don't know about this. I talk to somebody else. I talk to other people, other professionals. I run it by other people, depending on whether it's in my personal life. I'll talk to people in my personal life, or I will consult somebody who is a professional in that area, social worker, counselor. And like I said, I have talked to the police as well. So it's situation depend. Oh, and the ministry. So here, I think, so in the States, it's Child Protective Services. Here it's called the Ministry of Children, Youth and Family Development, MCFD. So I have had to talk to them as well, frequently actually, as situations come up in my practice professionally. I have had to do it personally as well for a situation that happened in my personal life. I wouldn't, so if I wouldn't necessarily, so like a situation where I have a 13-year-old having a baby by their father, yeah, for sure, police involved right away, 100%. But that's not always the case. It's not like, okay, if you are under the age of 18 and the person that you were dating is over the age of 18, I'm phoning the police. That's a pretty like hard black and white line that in practice isn't even useful to withhold. Like for the most part, the police are going to say, and like, so what? Because I have had that happen where I have gone to either the Ministry of Children and Family Development or the police or a social worker, physician, whoever, with a situation that I was concerned about, and their response to me was, it's, we don't care. And then it's like, amazing. That's not helpful. If I'm providing care to somebody under the age of 18, do I have to contact somebody? Situation dependent. So there's laws around that. Sometimes police, yes, parents, no. Which I know bugs a lot of people. And I have heard people say that about like myself as a parent. How can I be like, okay, with not informing parents of situations involving their children? And it is it's a difficult area in that, so if, for example, if we have like, say a 15-year-old is pregnant and they want to seek an abortion, we are not mandated to tell that. We are actually not allowed to tell her parents. So I didn't see who it was that said that, it wasn't a question, Lemon. No, I don't have to. So no. There are times that I have to inform the either or, usually both, the police and the Ministry of Children. I do not have to inform the parent or guardian of the situation for issues involving teenagers. Younger than teenagers, it's pretty unusual for the parent or guardian to not be with the child. And I haven't had to deal with anybody younger than the age of 13 in that kind of situation. I have done pediatrics, but for other stuff. And obviously babies, because, when you work in labor and delivery, you deal with babies. Does it differ by province? Not much. So we have a federal Canada Health Act. And then, so that's like the overarching, everybody has to abide by the laws in the Canada Health Act, and then each province will have their own laws that they add onto it, and then each health authority will add their own laws onto it as well. And then site-specific will add their own laws onto it as well. So it's a lot of layers of laws. So it actually gets quite confusing. And we do spend, like I said, we do this together, right? So if we have a situation, we ask, so a danger to themselves or others. We can't keep it private, we're not allowed. But so if I have somebody who is a danger to themselves or somebody else, or that I think that they are, or that they tell me that they are, I have to phone the police. But if it's a underage person, I do not have to phone their guardian. So, but the police, yes. And then this is something, actually, speaking to taking away people's rights. I had this conversation not very long ago about how in Canada, we take taking away people's rights very, very, very seriously. So if somebody is a threat to themselves or somebody else, and we deem it necessary to take away their rights to personal autonomy, the levels of paperwork and hoops that we have to jump through in order to institute those restrictions on that individual are actually quite stringent. Just because it's, police or emergency care. Exactly. So if somebody is threatening to unalive themselves, usually it is the paramedics that are called to wherever they are. And they get taken to the hospital and they get placed under mandatory hold. If they're threatening to hurt somebody else, it would be the police. And sometimes it's both. So, yeah. But the point that I want to make is that there's actually a difference between notifying the authorities and notifying the parent or guardian of a child. It's a different situation. So, yeah, Bubble, I've heard that already, which is whatever, fine. All right, it's getting late, guys. I think I'm going to end it. So I super shout out to my stellar mod who has been killing it and keeping things as good faith as possible. And I appreciate people for acting in good faith. I mean, there are lots of people who are, I know, going to take this and run. And that's kind of how it goes, right? That's exactly what I said is happening, that now other people are going to use this and turn it into drama to further their own platforms, which is not productive for for any of us. And I denounce that behavior. I think that's reprehensible. So if you are going to interact with that behavior, go right ahead. And I think that you shouldn't, because we need to keep our focus on the things that matter. And that's protecting people's rights and dealing with the people that are actually dangerous and not feeding into the drama and kind of the situations that are demonizing and weaponizing the people that are just trying to help. So I think that that's, yeah. Did I vote for Mark Carney? Okay, I'll quickly address this. No, because he's not the person in my riding. We don't vote for our prime ministers directly here. So we only vote for a member of parliament. So whoever's running in our riding. So I did vote for the Liberal candidate in my riding, but I didn't vote for Mark Carney. No. Yeah, as whoever's saying, like, you know, to go join, I forgot who it is. Whoever it is, Ashley, is it? It's like hosting a live about me or something. I don't care. No, I'm not going to go over there and like interact with somebody else trying to like bait me and other people into getting more clicks for themselves. That's exactly the problem that I'm trying to bring to the attention of people. So don't do it. Don't feed into the drama, and just try to remember what is actually productive dialogue. Try to remember who's actually a dangerous person. Whether or not you believe I'm a dangerous person doesn't matter to me, because outside of this app, there is literally not a soul that believes that. So that's where I am with knowing who I am as a human and just trying to do my work. And I'd appreciate it if you guys would let me. So thanks for joining. I wasn't expecting to be this long on here. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it again. Bye, guys. Maybe I'll do it again.